Now the classic case, a heavy-hitting bass drum where we just need to tighten up the mix a little bit without the normal artifacts associated with that heavy kick drum causing your compressor to respond and affecting all the high end of the mix. First we'll play the original for you and then the much improved compressed track. Normally, if you have a kick drum that's coming in hard, the only way to either get rid of it is to sidechain it out or high pass it out. But in this particular case, we're able to have that kick drum every bit as loud, let the compressor do its work on the entire mix, and not experience the high-end loss that you'd expect. Your cymbals are still there, your piano resonance is still there. After the compressed track.
Okay, well, what we can clearly see here on the meter is that we see the bass drum and the snare drum driving the mix pretty seriously, but yet the whole mix is unscathed. Here, what I'll do is I'll roll it back so there's a little more play in the meter, and you can really see what I'm talking about. There you go. Okay, so what we see here is that clearly the bass drum and the snare drum are very loud in the mix, and we can see both of those instruments hit the compressor pretty hard. But as the unit returns only to what it senses as the constantly changing average level, the whole mix is unscathed. With these loud bass drum and snare drum hits, we don't hear the whole mix duck at all. All of the other instruments are coming across completely clear, and I hear no artifacts of compression in the rest of the mix, even though the bass drum and snare drum are driving this compressor to peaks of minus 10 dBs of gain reduction. And here it goes again. We see it again. No problem. You know, I've got to say, a lot of times you want a loud bass drum in the mix. You know, this is goes to the rhythmic content of the overall mix. And today, a lot of what we see and a lot of what we hear on the radio is music that is so compressed, it's compressed down to the point of having the dynamic range of a test tone. And when you do that, you suck all the rhythmic content out of the mix, and the music becomes less exciting because of it. Typically, a loud bass drum is going to make it sound like there's a ducker on the vocal. And even worse, sometimes the bass drum will pull the whole mix down. Not only the track that's the loudest in the mix, but with each bass drum hit, you'll hear the whole mix go down. And the really only solution for that usually is a high-pass filter. Here, we don't have to patch in a whole bunch of extra electronics, you know, which are, you know, dirtying up our mix. If we can, you know, use as few electronics as possible on our main stereo bus, we're better off. Okay, so even if you have a loud bass drum, you'll notice that the rest of the mix is completely unscathed. You won't hear that typical, you know, drop in level every time the bass drum hits.
It's unbelievable. I mean, what you're saying to me is sort of something I've had to experience my entire career producing records.
Me too. We've all had to patch in, you know, a sea of cables and processors sometimes. We just keep patching in a different solution for every problem that we encounter.
I'm amazed at the simplicity of the unit. It looks inside as clean as it's sounding to us as it compresses.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to tell us a few things about it, maybe do some more detailed discussion.
Absolutely. Well, as you can see, the unit employs all discrete electronics. There are no integrated circuits, no vacuum tubes, no photo-optical devices. It's all transistors. It has a very clean sound. You can see that it has transformers on the input and the output. very high quality Cinemag audio transformers. The unit has a pretty unique circuit where we've given the storage capacitors a parabolic charge curve. So the unit always will release to what it senses is the constantly changing average level. This way it never lurches back to zero. It's very musical. The box just plays music great. And then, you know, on top of that, it has excellent sounding amplification stages, input and output. It uses very high quality Cinemag input and output transformers. So the audio quality in general of the box is quite good. Then when you couple that with the performance of that control circuit, you really have something.